August, that special month that we celebrate as women. And if you're watching this, that means you still have breath in you, and we just want to thank God. Let me just extend my gratitude to Maria Ngobese, Dr. Maria Ngobese, for affording me an opportunity to come and answer some questions on Women's Month, and we trust that you would enjoy some of the answers, and they'll probably will help one or two as we hear them. So thank you, Deacon Maria. Yes, my first question that I was asked to all the fabulous females is that I forgot. I'm trying to do it now. Okay, I'm getting there. It says, if a woman has an issue with a part of their body and works hard to hide it, what would you advise? Interesting one. I think I have lots of those that I previously tried to hide, and after I found my identity and I began to understand whose I am and how God created me, I began to realize that every part of my body was intended by God to function, to do a certain work in fulfilling my purpose. So sometimes we desire, other parts that we admire from other people. But if we were to take it and place it on ourselves, it will become a hindrance to do what we're supposed to do. What I like to do in my spare time, I love interior decor. I like painting. I like changing old things and making them new. I like also just working with the wool, knitting, and just starting things from scratch and seeing them complete. Every time I make a hat, a scarf, I put it on somebody's head, and it makes me feel so fulfilled. So those are some of the things I like doing. Also, it's reading, which I'm not doing very well in that area in terms of consistency.
What about kissing me?
Okay, I love kissing my husband. So also what I like doing is to spend one-on-one chats. I find a lot of insight that I've acquired throughout the year as I spend time with a person and talking. So I enjoy that more than being on the pulpit, talking to crowds. I find myself more expressing and imparting to a person that is just sitting with me, and we talk about issues of life. So those are some of the things that I love doing, and I love spending time with my family. I also love my me time. There are moments where I just want to be alone and just to find me, talk to self, and get myself refreshed alone. And most of all, again, that's one place I love doing my spare time, is just to work on the garden, which I have not been able to do because I'm still waiting for approval. Putting myself first, that has been quite an area that I'm working on. I'm not there yet, but I'm slowly getting there. I think the type of my job, my work as a pastor, as a leader, as a mother, as a family member, there are a lot of demands that sometimes can cause you to neglect putting yourself first. And I think also during this time of quarantine, it's been a time of reflection, of trying to reprioritize a lot of things. And it's an area that I'm growing, and I'm trusting God that I will be able to maneuver and bring balance, because also it is something that one needs to be very careful in how you apply it, because you can put yourself first and leave everybody behind. So there must be a balance that is struck so that you are still available to be yourself and put yourself first, but also be available for the people that God has entrusted you with. I'm growing that area. How do I pay myself after a job well done? Let me see. Lately I went to shop and I bought myself some nice clothes and I felt good. I have not been doing it for some time, but I must say it felt good just to buy that dress and just to be about me and myself and I. Like I want shoes, I want not having to think or consider buying groceries and things for the kids and everything, and just like it's about me. So I've done that and it felt good. So that's one of the ways I want to do, where I can go out, where I can be about me, pamper myself, and really enjoy. And I think every woman should have that. You work hard for your money, or you did well on that project. Take time, go sit, lift your feet up, get an ice cream or something, and just chillax. Have a girls' outing, just to have a good time. So paying back yourself, something I really support, and I just did it lately, and it felt quite good. Staying in your lane. You know, I am a firm believer that you are intended and created by God for a purpose. And God has ordained your path, your destiny, and all that is pertaining to you. So for you to know who you are, first is to find out from God, what is it that He has graced you with, and what is it that you need to come and do here on earth. And when you have answered that, you stay on your lane. You do you, because you have an assignment to come and fulfill. And one thing I have learned throughout the years after I found my purpose was that in my lane there's no competition, there's no crowds, it's my lane. And I can observe others, and I can appreciate others, I can help others, I can be helped in my lane. So staying in your lane is very critical, because you are fulfilled. Though there might be challenges, the challenges, they come, but God has already given you grace to overcome them, because that's why He created you to do just exactly that. So I encourage the women that you don't have to envy a sister, you don't have to be jealous of another lady out there, but be yourself and do you. And how would you do you? Find your purpose, find your identity in God, and you will find joy in this life. Stay in your lane. What would I tell my younger self? That little girl that was shy, that little girl that didn't have confidence, full of shame, hating little girl. I would tell her, you're beautiful. I would tell her you are intended, you are not a mistake. And I would tell her that lift up your shoulders, lift up your head, and walk like a princess, because that's who you are. I would tell her that every word that was spoken over you was nothing else but a lie, to destroy the potential that God has put in you. And I would say to that girl, you are the best that has ever happened to this life. Rise up and shine like a star. How do I break out of generational curses? Let me start by saying there's no curse without a cause. And there are times when we find ourselves in families or situations that are recurring. How I broke out of some of these recurring curses that happened in our families and all that, I spoke a word. These things came through a word, and they can go through a word. You declare, you intentionally speak that word until that thing is no more. Everything that is here on earth was created by a word. Break a curse by speaking a word, and honor the word that you have spoken, and that word will bring results. One of my favorite scriptures, it's in the book of Psalm 19 verse 14. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, my God, my rock, and my redeemer. So I'm intentional to make sure that my meditation, my thoughts are pleasing to God. Going back to my mentors, I would start with my mentor when I was still in my home church where I grew up, International Assemblies of God, Mama Pudendlala. What I have learned from her is prayer. I have learned how to love God. I have learned how to discipline myself and honoring God with how I serve Him. I have learned how to keep your family, warm and love. I have learned how to serve God, revering Him, and never taking for granted when I do the work of God. And I have also learned how to spend time waiting on God to give me directions. Those are the things that I have learned from her as I was serving her as an armor bearer. I walked out with a grace that she possessed of being an intercessor who goes after God. And moving from there, I had my leader, Pastor Stella, who also has been such a great influence in my life about authenticity and excellence in what you are doing. Minister Shelley, who has also helped me to heal from my brokenness. So I'm surrounded by great women that I feel that there is such a jewel in each and every one of them that they have imparted in my life, and the woman that I have become is because of their influence. How did I know that he's the right one? Peace in my heart. The way he loved me, and he still does. There was just a settling, like a puzzle that came together, and I just knew that he is the one. The love, the words he used, the treatment that he gave me, I felt like a princess. I felt like I'm the only girl in the world. And by the way, I still feel like that. And I just knew. And also how did I know also? It's prayer. I have been trusting God for a partner, and I prayed about it. It was not that one that I saw him first day and then I loved immediately. But it was just a journey of friendship, and after some time, when we connected, it like everything was just on point. And I would say to those who are still waiting, pray for your partner. Don't look at the outward look, because sometimes it's deceiving. All right, it's deceiving because body shape changes, money goes, friend goes, cars, they get to accident, they break, they become old. So don't go for material things. Listen to the heart. Listen to the stillness of the heart, and the Holy Spirit will confirm it in your heart that this is the one. So my man, there was those confirmation. There was no material things that were there to can attract me, but it was his heart, how he loved me, made me know, oh, this is that man that I'm gonna fall in love with for the rest of my life. How do I filter hateful words and false accusation? And that's what it is, false accusation. When somebody says something to me, I have learned a process of, before I accept whatever words, I pause, I do an introspection, I check if what is said is true. You see, because what input is very critical. In every process, there is verification process. And before it becomes confirmed and it is in your system, whether toxic or not, you still have an opportunity of pausing. So I pause and I look within, I look at my life, I look at my beliefs concerning what the person is saying. And if it's not true, I hit a reject button there and there. Because the only time that false accusation can have impact on you is if it's said about you has found truth in you concerning that specific issue. So sometimes accusations can be a sign of helping you to see the blind spots about yourself. And if it is in that case, I take that and then I would work on myself, but I would not make it a grudge. I clean my thoughts as much as I can, because there's just so much toxic things that are coming to us daily. So I have learned to press the pause button. And when it comes in that same issue of responding to another person in words that I feel I want to give it to them, I pause. Will I still be able to feel good and stand before God and men with what I have said to the person in the next hour, in 1 day, in 10 days, in 10 years to come? And should I realize that I cannot feel good after I've said something, I retract, and I'd rather be silent than saying something that I would later regret. What would I say to a woman who has given up on her dreams? I want to say to you, first of all, is that you didn't create yourself. The purpose, the dreams that you have might have been instilled in your heart by God. So when you're giving up, you are actually forsaking to be who God intended you to be. Your dreams that are in purpose, in line with how God created you, are going to come to pass with God's help. But when you want to do them alone without including God and surrounding yourself with people with like mind, you're going to find yourself frustrated and give up. I'm talking not only from just, reading this stuff, but I know that there are times that I wanted to give up on things that I felt I don't qualify. But I have learned by now that God qualifies us to attain certain dreams that He puts in our hearts. So when He gives you a desire, He has already enabled you to fulfill it. So I want to say to that woman, stand up, take your pen, take a piece of paper, write it down again, make it clear, and put a plan on how you're going to attain it step by step. Dreams cannot be attained overnight. Sometimes we just want immediate answers, and then we feel frustrated because we have put our own timelines, and when we don't meet our own timelines, we get discouraged. I'm saying patience, perseverance, persistence is very important. With the help of God, you will achieve your dream. Don't die without fulfilling what God has created you to be. Thank you.
Should lie, nor the Son of Man to change His mind.